Let me tell you about a golfer who disappeared for 12 years. Not retired, disappeared. A guy who was beating Sergio Garcia at the Ryder Cup, setting records at Augusta, climbing to number 6 in the world, and then just vanished into thin air at the age of 26. His name is Anthony Kim, and if you missed the golf scene from about 2006 to 2012, you missed one of the most intriguing and ultimately heartbreaking stories in modern sports. Now, I get it. You grew up watching Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods like I did, and you probably stopped following golf for a couple of decades, like I did, which means you completely missed the Anthony Kim era, like I did. And honestly, that's a shame because apparently this kid was something special. So, let me catch you up. Who was Anthony Kim? Why was he promising? How good was he really? And where the hell did he go for 12 years? Buckle up, this story has everything. Raw talent, pressure, addiction, mysterious insurance policies, and just recently, one of the most unlikely comebacks in golf history. Anthony Ha-Jin Kim was born in Los Angeles in 1985 to Korean immigrant parents who owned an herb store in Koreatown. His father, Paul, was demanding. Kim himself said his dad's expectations were brutal, but that Korean parenting style, that all-in approach where the family honor rides on the child's success, it worked. By age 9, little Anthony was being dropped off at the golf course with $10 for lunch. He'd practice next to celebrities like Clint Eastwood on the driving range, or, and I love this detail, he'd hustle golfers on the putting green and double his money. Can you imagine that? A 9-year-old taking your cash on the green and walking away with $20? Probably would happen to me. By 16, his family moved from LA to La Quinta, basically golf paradise, so Anthony could have access to better courses and practice facilities, and he did earn a full ride to the University of Oklahoma, where he absolutely dominated. He set the school record for the lowest scoring average. He was a 3-time All-American, 2005 Big 12 champion, NCAA Freshman of the Year in 2004. But even then, there were some warning signs. His coaches said Kim did everything 150%, practicing, playing, and partying. He loved to drink, gamble, and party with a growing entourage. But hey, when you're that good, people look the other way, right? Kim turned pro in 2006. His very first professional tournament, he finished tied for second on a sponsor's exemption, first time out. Then in 2008, at just 22 years old, he won his first PGA Tour event at the Wachovia Championship, destroyed the field by 5 shots. His 16 under par total was the lowest score in that tournament's history at the time. He earned over $1 million and shot up to 16th in the world rankings. 2 months later, he won again at the AT&T National, Tiger Woods' tournament. Kim shot a 5 under 65 in the final round to win by 2 shots. And here's the kicker. He became the first American under 25 to win twice in 1 year on the PGA Tour since, you guessed it, Tiger Woods in 2000. Let that sink in. The first since Tiger Woods. That's the level of hype we're talking about. But Anthony Kim wasn't just talented, he had style, he had swagger. He wore this giant diamond-studded belt buckle with AK and rhinestones. It looked like a rodeo champion's belt buckle. He'd show up in pastel polos with huge Nike swooshes. He drove expensive cars. He partied harder than anyone on tour. Golf in the late 2000s was desperately searching for someone to compete with Tiger Woods, someone young, talented, and charismatic who could capture attention. And Anthony Kim looked like he might be that guy. Paul Azinger, the 2008 Ryder Cup captain, called him an emotional juggernaut. And then came Valhalla, the 2008 Ryder Cup. Kim was the youngest player on either team. The US was trying to win the cup for the first time since 1999. Kim wanted Sergio Garcia all week, demanded the matchup. Of course, the Ryder Cup doesn't work that way. Captains only control the order, not the specific matches. But by sheer chance, Kim got matched up with Garcia to open Sunday singles, and he absolutely destroyed him, 5-4. 5 birdies and an eagle in just 14 holes. It was so dominant that Kim didn't even realize he'd won. He started walking towards the 15th tee before someone told him the match was over. "I told you I was gonna whoop his ass," Kim yelled to Azinger after winning, pointing at his captain. The US won that Ryder Cup 16.5 to 11.5. Anthony Kim was a hero, and he was only 23 years old. The next year, 2009, Kim set a Masters record. 11 birdies in a single round at Augusta. 11. Beat Nick Price's old record of 10 from 1986. He went 3-1 at the President's Cup. He reached number 6 in the world rankings. In 2010, he won the Shell Houston Open in a playoff, becoming only the 5th player in 30 years to win 3 times on the PGA Tour before 25. And the others? Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Sergio Garcia, and Adam Scott. That's the company he was keeping. Then he finished 3rd at the 2010 Masters after shooting a final round 65. Anthony Kim looked unstoppable. He had the talent, the wins, the swagger. He was making $4.7 million in tournament winnings, plus another $6 million from Nike. The future looked limitless. But then there was a problem. Actually, several problems. First, the injuries. Kim had been playing through a thumb injury for months. In May 2010, he had surgery to repair a partial tear in a ligament in his left thumb. 3 months off the tour. Then his shoulder, then his hand again, then the big one, his Achilles tendon in June 2012. Each injury seemed to be caused by the one before, a cascade of breakdowns. He withdrew from the Wells Fargo Championship in 2012 after shooting a first round 74. He was 26 years old, and that was the last shot he ever hit on the PGA Tour. Here's where it gets really interesting and controversial. It was revealed that Anthony Kim had taken out a massive insurance policy on his career, somewhere between $10 million and $20 million tax-free. The policy covered loss of value from injury, not just disability. It was the kind of insurance that NFL prospects take out before the draft. The rumor that circulated for years was simple. If Kim took one more competitive swing, the policy would be voided. And to make up that insurance payout, he'd have to win $35 million in future prize money, more than he'd made in his entire career up to that point. So the question everyone asked, did Kim take the money and run? Did he bet against himself? Did he choose $10 to $20 million guaranteed over the uncertainty of competing with a broken body? For 12 years, nobody knew. Kim went into hiding. He didn't play golf recreationally. He rarely appeared in public. When someone spotted him at a coffee shop in West Hollywood in 2019 and asked about his golf game, Kim said it was non-existent. People called him golf's Yeti, golf's greatest mystery, the ultimate what if. But the reality? It was so much darker than just money. When Kim finally came back in 2024 and sat down for his first interview, he revealed the truth, and it was heartbreaking. I had multiple surgeries in a few years, Kim said. Multiple shoulder surgeries, hand surgeries, spinal fusion. I've had a lot of injuries and a lot of surgeries. Spinal fusion, that's the same back surgery Tiger Woods had to get in 2017 when his nerve pain became debilitating. But it wasn't just physical. Kim admitted he struggled with drug and alcohol addiction. He said he contemplated suicide for almost 2 decades, even when playing the PGA Tour. In 2025, Kim revealed that he'd been sober for 2 years. He said when he entered rehab, his body was shutting down. In rehab, I found faith, self-love, and respect and purpose, Kim said. He talked about being surrounded by the wrong people, scam artists, and snakes living under your roof who took advantage of him when he was in his early 20s and making millions of dollars. I thought I was having a great time, but I don't remember any of those times, Kim said about his playing days. When I say that I literally don't remember any of those times, because you figure at 23, 24 years old, you're supposed to be doing these things and it's okay. But with the personality that I have, which is an addictive personality, it can get out of hand. At one point during his disappearance, Kim was living with 6 dogs and 2 monkeys, barely leaving his house, watching reality TV and eating a lot of food. I felt very alone, even when there's a million people around, Kim said. I needed to get my mind straight and figure out what my purpose was on this planet. The insurance policy, yes, it existed. Kim finally acknowledged that in 2024, but it isn't why he left. The injuries, the addiction, the depression, the people who took advantage of him, that's why he left. And then in February 2024, 12 years after disappearing, Anthony Kim announced he was coming back to play golf, not on the PGA Tour, on Live Golf, the controversial Saudi-backed league that's been disrupting the sport. Why Live? Simple, they offered him a guaranteed contract. Live could cover the insurance settlement and pay him up front. No need to qualify, no need to grind, just show up and play. On March 1st, 2024, Kim teed up at Live Golf Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, his first competitive round in 12 years. He finished dead last, shot 16 over par, 33 shots behind the winner. It was ugly. But you know what? He completed 54 holes. He was back. Kim's first 2 seasons on Live were not great. In 2024, playing 10 events as a wild card, His best finish was 36th out of 54 players. In 2025, playing a full schedule, his best result was a tie for 25th. He finished 55th out of 57 players in the 2024 season standings, then 55th again in 2025, outside the top 48 cutoff. He got relegated, kicked off the tour. For someone who once reached number 6 in the world, who beat Sergio Garcia at the Ryder Cup, who set records at Augusta, this had to be humbling. But then something changed. In November 2025, Kim played in the PIF Saudi International, an Asian tour event. He shot a bogey-free 64, his lowest round in 14 years. He finished tied for 5th, his first top 10 finish since 2011. People started paying attention again. Maybe, just maybe, the old Anthony Kim was still in there somewhere. After being relegated from LIV Golf, Kim had one shot to get back on the tour, the LIV Golf Promotions event. It's a 4-day qualifier where only the top 3 finishers earn spots for the 2026 season. Kim entered the tournament. He was exempt into the second round but had to survive a cut just to play the weekend. On Friday, he drained a clutch birdie putt on his 36th and final hole to make the cut by his single stroke. He then went 66-69 over the weekend. On Sunday, January 12, 2026, literally just a few days ago, Anthony Kim finished 3rd. He earned his spot back on LIV Golf for 2026. There's a ton of satisfaction, Kim said afterward. I'm sure I'll understand that all that work has really shown this week. He credited his wife and daughter for keeping him strong. This little girl right here is one of the reasons why, he said, pointing to his daughter. I've had so much support behind me all year, last 2 years since I've been back. I'm so grateful to be back on the stage. Tiger Woods' former coach Hank Haney tweeted, "Congratulations, Anthony Kim. You worked your ass off and totally earned your spot. Proud of you." Billy Horschel, a 6-time PGA Tour winner, congratulated him too. Phil Mickelson said AK gets his life back and now his golf game is back. So why does Anthony Kim's story matter? Why should casual golf fans care? Because this is the ultimate redemption story. This is about a guy who had everything: talent, money, fame, and lost it all. Not to injury alone, not to bad luck, but to addiction, depression, and the crushing weight of expectations. This is about someone who disappeared for 12 years, not because he wanted to, but because he had to go figure out who he was and what mattered. Golf is important to me and not important to me at the same time, Kim said. I've had some very dark moments. I've had some very low moments. But now he's back, sober, a husband, a father, fighting to prove he belongs on the tour again, not because of the wild card exemptions or guaranteed contracts, but because he earned it. And here's the thing about raw talent. Brian Harman, who won the 2023 Open Championship, once called Anthony Kim one of the 3 or 4 most talented golfers he's ever seen. He's got speed, Harman said. He's got that thing that you really can't teach. Back then, it was a big deal because he was one of the few guys that could really hit it far. Reporters who watched Kim practice said they'd never seen such solid contact except maybe from Lee Trevino. A ball struck by Kim's 4-iron zoomed out and up like an F-16 off a carrier deck. Just to note, F-16s don't take off of carrier decks, but I like the sentiment anyway. The talent is still there. It has to be. You don't shoot a bogey-free 64 after 14 years away and finish top 5 in a tournament without serious raw ability. The question now is, can he put it all together? Can a 40-year-old Anthony Kim with multiple surgeries, years of addiction, and a 12-year gap compete at the highest level again? Here's what I think is so compelling about this story. Anthony Kim was never the next Tiger Woods. He was never going to be the greatest golfer of all time. But that was never really the point. The point was that he had a chance. He had the talent, the charisma, and the wins. He was 26 years old with 3 PGA Tour victories, a Ryder Cup hero moment, and a Masters record. And then life happened. Injuries, addiction, mental health struggles. The stuff that doesn't care how talented you are or how much money you have. For 12 years, we wondered, what if Anthony Kim had stayed healthy? What if he hadn't disappeared? How many majors might he have won? Would he have fulfilled the promise of being the first American since Tiger to win twice before 25? Now we're asking different questions. Can he just be competitive? Can he make cuts? Can he find joy in the game that once brought him so much pain? Kim is now 40 years old. He's not going to win majors. He's probably not going to dominate LIV Golf. Hell, he just had to qualify through a grinded-out tournament just to get his spot back. But that's what makes it beautiful. He's not chasing greatness anymore. He's just chasing relevance, proving he belongs, showing his daughter that you can fall as far as he fell and still possibly find your way back. "I'm not here to prove everyone wrong," Kim said after qualifying. "I'm here to prove myself right." That's the Anthony Kim story in a nutshell. So yeah, if you missed the Anthony Kim years because you were focused on Nicklaus and Tiger and then took 20 years off from golf to just run in the rat race in corporate America like I did, you missed one of the sport's most intriguing figures. But you're here now, and so is he. Anthony Kim is back on Live Golf for 2026. He'll be competing alongside the sport's biggest names. Will he win? Probably not. Will he contend? Maybe. But honestly, just watching him play, knowing everything he's been through, is going to be compelling as hell. Because this isn't just about golf anymore. It's about resilience. It's about second chances. It's about a guy who lost his way and spent 12 years finding it again. Golf's greatest mystery is a mystery no more. Anthony Kim is back. And whether you remember him from 2008 or you're just learning about him now, his story is one worth following. Welcome back, AK. We're all rooting for you.